Hello and welcome to the Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. It's Matthew with you here, and I've got something short and a little different for you today. It's about content creation and YouTube, and I want to offer some thoughts on a trend that I've spotted in the hobby recently. You might even say it's a bit of a PSA, or more like a plea, but if you're a content creator or plan to start a podcast or channel, then this is particularly relevant to you. But even the fact that you're listening to this makes it relevant to you too. You probably listen to other podcasts, and if you want to continue to do so, then we need to talk about YouTube and open podcasting. Now, this isn't addressed to any one creator or designed to throw anyone under the bus, but I've just anecdotally found that 5 or 6 shows that I really like have gone all in on YouTube for one reason or another, and you can't listen to them anymore on your preferred podcast app. So I want to talk about this trend more broadly and highlight some of my concerns, and also offer some solutions as well. So let's start off by saying that YouTube is a fantastic platform. When you see the standard of paint out there today compared to 10 or even 5 years ago, much of that is to do with YouTube. If you remember those 4-panel painting guides in White Dwarf back in the day, you had like undercoat, base coat, highlight, wind gold and demon, and it's incredible to think that we've gone from that to being able to watch the precise brush strokes as some of the best painters in the world. Then there's things like battle reports, where you could watch your favourite games being played out on amazing tabletops with beautifully painted miniatures. I know for a lot of people who don't have anyone to play against or play with, this could be the next best thing. And if you're ever on the fence about a new game or struggling with its rulebook, you're almost guaranteed to find a video of it being played on YouTube. So all this to say, I'm not anti-YouTube, and this isn't some unhinged YouTube is bad for the hobby rant, but here's where I'm coming from. If you record conversations that work when your eyes are busy and you only post them on YouTube, then there's a ton of downsides to this. I'm not saying don't post conversations to YouTube, I'm saying don't just post them there. If you're a content creator, the first thing you need to think about is your audience. And if you want them to consume your content on YouTube, if that's the only option for them, you're asking some very specific things of them. The most notable of all is that unless someone pays for YouTube Premium, they can't even take your episode out for a walk and listen, because the minute their phone screen locks, the video just stops playing. Here's an interesting stat for you. The 2025 podcast landscape study from Sounds Profitable found that 40% of podcast listeners use YouTube as their main app, but almost half of that group listens to most of their shows without watching the video. Another big study by Cumulus Media and Signal Hill Insights found that audio remains the primary mode of consumption despite the growing video option. The study concluded that podcast consumers have the option to either watch or listen, and the vast majority, 92%, continue to choose to listen. A small minority, 8%, say they only watch podcasts. And yeah, audiences can and do listen on YouTube, as we've just seen there, but unless someone's sitting at the painting desk with their phone or laptop open, you're just making it difficult for them, especially if they've got expensive data plans or they live in low signal environments. YouTube's a very limited listening platform, and there's infinitely more time in the day for people to listen than there is to watch. If your audio is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the 100 odd other places podcasts are consumed, then you could keep your audience company whilst they drive, tidy the house, or walk the dog. I always think of it as that people need to find time to watch, but they fill time with listening. And again, this is about conversations. It's not about unboxings, tutorials, or battle reports. Of course, those are visuals that are best suited to YouTube. Now, is there a time cost of publishing to 100 different places? Surprisingly, no. And is there a financial cost to doing it? Again, no. If you publish your podcast via Spotify for creators, then it's absolutely free. Spotify accounts for 28% of all podcast consumption, so that's a big chunk of listeners you're immediately opening the door to. Then with a 5-minute job, you could make your show available in Apple Podcasts, which not only accounts for another 37% of podcast consumption, but also puts your podcast everywhere else, from Overcast and Podcast Addict to Pocket Casts and Castbox. And once you get this set up, publishing new episodes to Spotify for creators automatically pushes them out to all these different platforms. You don't even need to think about it again. And this is called open podcasting. It lets you say to your audience, find us wherever you get your podcasts. It meets them on their own terms and their own favourite apps. It fits with their routines, their lifestyles and their habits. From a creator point of view, you also own that relationship with your audience directly. If you want to leave Spotify for Creators further down the line and sign up with a new hosting provider, you get to take your subscribers on all these different apps with you. They won't even know that there's been a change to your show under the hood. YouTube, on the other hand, owns that relationship with your audience. It's unlikely, I know, but if YouTube closed tomorrow and it's the only place your show existed, then that's the end of it. And YouTube has also been known to delete or strike channels, and that's a more realistic risk. I'm not trying to scaremonger here, I'm just saying don't put all your eggs in that one basket. So you might be thinking, well, I record a video on StreamYard or Twitch and I don't even have the time or the tools or the know-how to rip the audio and make that audio version. Well, you don't even need to do that. If you upload your video to Spotify for Creators, it'll make it available in Spotify in both video and audio form, and then it'll push out the audio version of it to everywhere else we've talked about, to Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Podcast Addict, etc, etc. So there's nothing about this that's hard or expensive, and the benefits are almost universal. If you're recording conversations in the hobby, the benefits of podcasting are too good to ignore. Your video chats, they could be doing brilliantly on YouTube, but you're still excluding a lot more people than you're reaching, and you're severely limiting your audience. If you need more help with any of this, give me a shout in the Bedroom Battlefields Discord at bedroombattlefields.com/Discord. I'm not looking for money here, I'm not soliciting business. I'm honestly just happy to walk anyone through the steps that I've mentioned here today. And if there's a chat-based hobby show that you like that's YouTube only, invite them into the Discord too, and I'd only be too happy to help get them up and running. Ultimately, open podcasting makes the hobby a better place. There's a very good chance that's why and how you're listening to this right now. And as ever, thanks for doing so. I really appreciate it. And I promise we'll get back onto the subject of manticores and goblin green bases on the next episode. Thanks again.